Hey everyone, how's it going? Hey Hendrik, how you doing?
Hello, and welcome everyone. Thanks for tuning in.
Another week, another community hours. For everyone joining right now, just put a rabbit emoji in chat. Let us know that you're alive. We want to know how many agents and humans we have watching this. But hey, what's up? How's the week going for you, Hendrik?
It's been going well. I think last week was a lot of rumble. Right, we had our Series C announcement. We had a bunch of product launches, and this week feels like a little bit more settled back into execution mode. Even though the team's already been cooking, as we'll show
Yeah,
in a little bit. We've got more to announce, more coming up very soon. But I'm feeling really good. How about yourself?
good. Recovering from a very busy week last week. We had so much stuff going on between through the announcement. We had this live stream happening for the first time. Now, I think we also had things like Grok 4.6 coming out, so we're
Mhm.
testing that out. A lot of stuff coming up at the same day. I think this is the first time where still like we're putting a lot of stuff out there, but can take a breather and relax and be like, okay, there's nothing super critical that is gonna destroy the world. Well, we're going to talk a little bit more about it, but still very cool to have the time to be here.
Yeah, no such thing as a calm week in Silicon Valley, is there?
Not a calm week. That's true. That's true. It's true. But yeah, so then I get started. We have news from OpenAI. We have news from Grok. We have news from Cursor. So much stuff to cover today. First thing that I think we might want to cover. I don't know if we can share my
I think
screen.
we can, yeah. Please take it away.
Uh, let me retry. Allow full screen, share entire screen. There we go. Infinite
Infinite
screens.
Jote.
Um, cool. First things. Security and AI. I think it's been a big topic this week. We start the week with Taiwan mentioning that they've seen an abnormal number of AI agents trying to hack into their systems. This has been covered by routers, a ton of different
Mhm.
like media sources. Important things that 85 government accounts were compromised, at least that they know. A ton of people coming out and starting to mention the importance of governments being able to protect themselves. What is interesting for from this specific attack is that it was completely performed from what the Taiwan and also the Dream team here, who was is one of the teams that let me open that one, that was taking a look into this specific type of work, mentioning that they see that this was performed with open source models.
Oh, really?
So agents running open
Yeah.
source models. Interesting things they mentioned other places where they did these blog posts a little bit like scaring people out, sharing that governments are not ready for
Mhm.
what's coming to them. It's also kind of like a great sales speech for them. They're like a defense company as well.
Yeah, okay.
But interesting things mentioning, how we like, I think 2 or 3 weeks ago, we had this discussion with OpenAI hacking Hugging Face unintentionally. Then Anthropic saying, hey, like we can also be responsible with our models and we have hacked other things as well. And now open source models are like, hey, we can also be responsible, but well, not responsible, but this was more like an orchestrated attack
Yeah.
towards Taiwanese like public government and also like things like schools, hospitals, and vital services, which is a little bit scary that these are the main targets for this type of attacks.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. I mean, if you think about Anthropic and the project Glasswind, right? And being able to them trying to prepare instrumental institutions, it seems like we need a whole new other level of program in order to be able like give everybody the opportunity to level up their security guards as we roll out more and more capable agents, right?
Yeah, it was interesting, and this like a little bit out of like what we initially planned, but the release of GLM 5.3 yesterday, one of the benchmarks that they shared that it performed pretty good was for cyber defense. Kind
Mm,
of like following up with this story that we had from OpenAI hacking Hugging Face.
yeah.
Hugging Face is in GLM 5.2 to detect and kind of like work through the attack. Uh, Now GLM 5.3 is using these also as a mechanism to promote the performance of the model, and also one of the key elements that they want to highlight from it. So I don't know. It's interesting to see these becoming more visible, I think, and more tangible.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you have had like any perceptions about like security, AI agents, where are we going with these?
Yeah, I mean, we're obviously in the midst of it. I was, I had the blessing of being very involved into our security agent launch that we launched here at CodeRabbit last week. So, been doing some testing there of the product prior to the launch, of course, and trying to understand more what are different architectures that people in the industry and the market are now currently deploying to their security products and see how we compare to them. I think it's going to be a massive effort of the entire industry to level up against those type of attacks. Yeah.
100% agree. I think this is going to become one of those things that we're going to start seeing more frequently, just because with these models, like everyone has access to open source models. They can be used, modified, fine-tuned for specific tasks as well. We did this like last week or 2 weeks ago, where we fine-tuned Numatron 3.5 Lightning for code review tasks. We found out that it's not like, also it's very cheap to like fine-tune or train these models for specific tasks. It cost us, I think, $100 in base time to train the model.
Wow.
What was like really hard was getting the tasks, right? Like getting all the data to train these models. And then we also discovered that the cost of running an open source model that has been fine-tuned for a specific task is considerably cheaper compared to like frontier models. You can use a smaller like GPUs, like an A100, to run these models. So really, I don't know. It's kind of interesting to see that this is a place where these models are also being used. On the other hand, we also have things like, OpenAI and Anthropic, these models are closed source. These models are also being used kind of like in this frontier of like cybersecurity. But it sounds like a lot of the defense has been used, like it's been using open source models.
Yeah, I mean, do you feel that that is because many open source models, they have less alignment training, maybe to perform these type of cyber attacks? Because the classifiers in front of Fable or Opus 5, they often limit you to do even kind of routine daily activities, right? So I could imagine that, I don't know if you've heard about this model called Dolphin, for example. It's like an open source model you can get on Hugging Face that has no restrictions at all.
Yeah.
Very scary to a certain part. So I could imagine that would be. I'm also very interested to see like how would they have known that was open source models, Dream or these other companies.
I would love to get the data, because I can see different ways where you can kind of see the behaviors or kind of how the model works. I don't know. Probably this could be also propaganda against like open source models. I have no idea. But there was a very strong mention that this was open source models being used for these tasks. So I don't know. I don't know how they did it. I would love to get the data.
Well, we'll get them on the show. Come on the show. Tell
Dream.
us.
But moving from that, this also moved us into what OpenAI mentioned also like this week, yesterday actually, with them slowing a little bit of the training and capabilities of their models in the frontier. Something that a lot of discussion have been happening for the past 2 weeks. We had like a letter from folks of both Anthropic, OpenAI, Gemini. All of the model labs were like jumping at it as like, hey, we need to stop a little bit until we figure out all of this cyber capabilities that these models
interesting. I mean, that's what I told you yesterday when we talked about this first. It was like interesting to have OpenAI being the first mover on that claim. You would have thought naturally that Anthropic would be the first ones to announce that.
Yeah. I was thinking about that yesterday, where I think there's it's a hard market. Like for me, I think like probably Anthropic has this more on their day-to-day type of conversations. Like they claim this idea of them protecting like humanity from AI, and having these ethical and moral like leverage that other companies don't have in this space. There's also like a sense of like this is a first mover type of thing, where being the first one also carries a lot of benefits. but it also carries a lot of risk, like saying that you're going to be stopping a lot of the research and, well, not the research, but like the training. I think economically puts like a lot of risk into how fast you're moving, where you're moving. Probably they're going to move things in a different way.
Yeah.
But interesting to see OpenAI leading and being the first one taking a break and being like, hey, we need to slow things out for while we figure this out. I haven't spent a ton of time on this specific article. I think what I would love to see is like the actions, and I think we're gonna have to verify this article
That's
with the
true.
actions that
Yeah.
take afterwards. Uh, this also can be a way of pressuring other model labs to be like, hey, if OpenAI can do it, why cannot like Anthropic? Or I think like
Yeah.
Gemini probably has been the more responsible one that hasn't have shown this cyber activity with their models, or
Mhm.
at least they haven't had their model go rogue. Um, but I do agree with you that it is really interesting to see that
Yeah.
OpenAI was the first mover in this sense. Do you think they're gonna like? Why do you think they come up with these? Like, why do you think this is important for them to stop?
I mean, now we're kind of going into the guessing territory of things, but I do agree with you that Anthropic has this mentality of show down tell. I think that's something that is one of their flagship slogans. So could be that they wanna show next how whatever they're cooking is gonna go against that next before they announce anything. Historically speaking, I think Sam Altman and the entire organization of OpenAI has been very savvy with some of the marketing slash product slash other activities. So, but then I imagine there's also a lot of pressure on them right now in terms of like the Hugging Face incident was really a big thing. I as I told you, I listened through this 30-minute black hat talk from the Las Vegas conference to where they explained everything how they did it just after very shortly after the incidents, and I was blown away by the sophistication of the models. They had basically a communication board that they were having inside of that package manager, which was the only entry and out point that
Mhm.
the models were giving in that sandbox. And even though they shut down, they found that this artifactory was used by the models for this model board. They thought they patched it, and yet still again 2 days later they exploded it again, and that's when the entire incidents happened over months. So yeah, I think given the publicity that all of this gotten, I can understand how they need to put out a statement like that or really taking that into consideration. Yeah.
Yeah, I think like we didn't mention this in kind of like our show notes, but there's also this other side of Anthropic. I don't know if you saw the protein thing that they did this weekend, where well they did like a new article where they show how like Opus and Fable and
Mhm.
Mythos can, well, I think it's Opus and Mythos can orchestrate these models that are done specifically for uh, protein, and how these proteins attach to each other to create like new medications.
Yeah.
Uh, Personally, I think like it's really interesting because all of these models for these proteins are open source.
Mhm.
So they're using like these open source like models, and it's also forgot the name of this thing, but essentially they can replicate the model capacities and, well, the protein capacities. Uh, I would love to see what like more researchers on the biomedical side can do. Unfortunately, with the guardrails that Claude has and Anthropic
Yeah.
models have, they cannot use the model in the same way that Anthropic has, which
Okay.
feels a little bit like weird, where you're like, I'm going to
Mhm.
save humanity, but not allowing other people that are experts in the ecosystem to participate. Hopefully, they're going to be more
I think they're working
open.
towards that, and then
Yeah.
on the other hand, you have to say like if you're reading the security news there before from Taiwan, right? And then you see, okay, if people are already doing that, I guess they don't want to be responsible for Fable 5 being involved in such an incident, right? That would be,
Creating like
yeah,
bioweapons
yeah,
or
yeah,
something that can be more
exactly.
critical.
Well, should we move on? I think we have
Yeah.
enough frontier hot talk.
uh Claude AI generated content marks, watermarks.
Oh yes.
Interesting topic. Essentially, I think this is a response from Anthropic signing the EU AI Act, where the European countries came together in a discussion about the transparency of use of AI in content. I was very interested to see that code is also considered content. I think they were trying to protect people from misinformation, generating images and videos that might help or might promote people to move their perception on reality towards like a certain like parameter. Uh, but a ton of discussion about this. I think it's interesting because the people that talk more about this is not on Twitter, but I saw a lot of discussion on Instagram.
Mm,
Like Instagram tech like influencers talking about this new thing. I think it became like a hot topic on Instagram at least.
yeah.
I guess like any video slash like image type of platform, this is something that they will start seeing like impacting the work they have. But what are your takes on AI generated content?
I mean, overall, I have to say, I think it is the initiative. I think is good because
Mhm.
there's gonna be soon. I mean, you just spend a weekend playing around with Sedence 2.5, right? So there's gonna be a time very very soon where AI generated video will be indistinguishably from real video, at least in some format or another, right? If you lower down the content quality or whatever. So being able to tell when something is AI generated, I think is something that we need to invest time in, and I think they're pioneering that field. So I mean, I'm a European, so I guess I have like a certain biased standpoint to that. I support that type of initiative. In terms of code, I don't know. I think that's
Mhm.
kind of like that's where for me the hot debate lies, because whatever semantic patterns they induce into Claude's output in order to be then later be able to tell seems for me like naturally my gut tells me there must be a restriction on the quality of code, or like at least like there's some new restricting parameter on the code output that I necessarily don't want for my coding
Mm.
agent to be bounded to
Yes.
when writing software. So that's something where I have a lot of questions. I've also read only the news page yet. They have another blog article that is that goes a bit more. I mean, this is kind of like the docs page, but
Yeah.
that goes a bit more in depth into it. I haven't spent a ton of time reading it yet, but
Things like Claude watermarking.
yeah, exactly. You find it there. Uh, yeah, I think that's the one. Yes, exactly.
Mhm.
So I haven't read all of that yet, but it's up to debate. I've found that over the past week, a ton of people in the valley have been talking about this. This has been debate all over the place, and especially here, I feel people are reacting quite sensitive to it.
The fear that the feeling that I have specifically for code is that I my perception with this like whole act or whole thing was a lot of people cannot differentiate AI generated content versus non AI generated content.
Hmm.
You mentioned right, like I play with Dance 2.5 the last couple of weeks, and the views are pretty good. I feel like as long as you are like putting attention to detail, you still can find it. But I would say for most of the consumer type of content, it's really hard to know like what's like AI generated. People will not spend the time trying to find the details to differentiate from like AI generated content versus non-generated content. My perception from conversations with people about these, specifically for code, was like this is kind of like a way for these companies to promote their coding agent without you necessarily wanting to. Because if you analyze the
Mm,
watermarking, then you're gonna know like, oh, this code was created by Claude, and then you'll be like, okay,
yeah,
Claude is getting like this additional promotion, or if OpenAI implements this, which most likely they're gonna have to because you
it's a big market.
is
They're
is,
not gonna
is
miss out on that market now.
exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
So I think they're gonna have to do it as well. But it's also kind of like a weird way. It just pulls me back into when Claude Code started to add themselves as authors of commits, and people were like,
Mm,
"Well, yes, but at the same time, like, I don't want Claude to be an author, and just if I'm an open source project, you're getting free promotion out of me because people can see that I'm using Claude."
mhm.
And OpenAI was very also like responsive to that, and they were like, "Well, we don't claim authorship of your content." And I see this can turn a little bit into that conversation again, where who, what's the model, what's the
Yeah.
agent, that is going to be part of what I think these watermarks are going to start reflecting.
I mean, the interesting part is as well as they're gonna deploy this everywhere. It's not gonna be only for European customers, only European API keys or whatever. No, this is gonna be a thing whether you're in South Africa or Americas.
Yeah. And a good response from developers for this was they remove watermarks. Is interesting project. It was born, I think, like last week. 5,000 stars in like probably in terms of less than 10 days. A ton of people starting to contribute to it, and I think like it's really interesting to see everything that they're building to prevent this from happening. We'll have to see if there's any legal type of thing here, because if the EU Act is forcing you to have these watermarks, then like where does this type of projects like fit in?
Yeah.
Probably, as you mentioned, right? Like since it's something that is going to be implemented globally, probably if you are in a country that is not in the EU, you might also be like, I don't want to have these watermarks.
No, most people don't. Most people actually don't. So, yeah, interesting, but yeah, another hot topic of debate. So.
Yeah. We move to the next one. We got SpaceX acquiring Cursor. Really cool story. I feel like Cursor has worked so hard for the past like 5 years, 6 years. The value like $60 billion. And the big discussion I was having, I mean, this is not the right week to say this, but like when GitHub was acquired, it was acquired for $4 billion. Now, like this platform, these AI startups are getting acquired more than like on top of that, like probably like a few extra $1 billion. 60 billion, I think, is massive. SpaceX game, I think, is going to be more of a distribution play. But I don't know if you have spent some time talking with like folks from Cursor, or if you have like some like comments on like internally, how do you think they feel, or what are some of the discussions that you?
I mean, for me, this makes absolute sense. I think there's only like at the moment 3 players that make the frontier of AI development from the very that I see there, which is like OpenAI, Anthropic, and then Cursor has like the most leverage because they've been the most popular IDE. They have so much data over the time that they collected from all the people that use their product for free or and whatnot, and they have the team and they can execute. And from a product point perspective, they've always been very loved by developers. Even so much that I don't know if you know this, but Boris Cherny, the creator of Cloud Code, he switched to Cursor for 2 weeks,
and then came back to Anthropic.
Exactly. Yeah. So so he was very in love with what they're building from a developer point of view, which says a lot, I think. Yeah, so I think that definitely, and now with the power of SpaceX and everything that Elon's built in terms of the infrastructure stack, yeah, I think they already started cooking some amazing stuff. Actually, maybe you can show the benchmark that you built, or like the Grok.
Oh yeah. I did a post about like Grok 4.6. I was very, very surprised. Also, for my Chinese friends who are watching this, it's super relevant to you all. Anyways, Grok 4.5 and 4.6. We didn't cover initially 4.5. I think it didn't grab a lot of attention as a new model. 4.6, on the other hand, I think like it's definitely like pretty good.
Yeah.
I would put it almost on the Fable level.
Oh.
With cheaper prices.
Yeah.
And way faster.
Oh.
Can
you zoom in on that graph there? That looked interesting.
So this is like the artificial intelligence graph. Let me move Harjot. So where is it? Grok 4.6 high is right up before like Soul, Fable. So but it's like a 1 point difference between each of them. What was more interesting for us was that we are using like Terra for certain tasks that we wanted to test, like Grok 4.5. At the moment, we were not using any Grok models, and we identified that it has almost like the same precision or the same recall, almost the same, a little bit higher precision. But what is really interesting is this graph here. That is the output tokens is like 1,000 less tokens in average, or well, 21% fewer tokens in general. Which is like really important for us at the scale. Like 21% like less tokens, it's a lot of like savings in terms of money, but also the general cost is 28% lower. So even like running these tasks for us would be like significantly like cheaper. It also continues to promote the same quality of code review quality for both like recall and precision. We a little bit like higher precision. So I haven't run the 4.6 ones yet, but I think if you want like good quality with good speed with good pricing, this might be like a good model for people to check out.
Yeah.
Uh, Definitely, like I can see a world where SpaceX AI is becoming like a third a frontier model. They're pushing really hard to become one, and honestly, I think I don't know, like Elon has enough compute power to make this work.
Yeah.
So I'm really interested to see where these develop. I think they have the data now with whenever they had like Grok for free, Grok 3 free, many months. They have a lot of data from Cursor, and they have like these massive data centers that they're even lending to other frontier labs. So I don't know. I think like they can cook something really, really good in terms of like the models they're producing. We'll have to see how much like they want to get into the race, and I think they're gonna get into this point where probably they'll have to make like decisions of how they're gonna spend this compute, if they're gonna rent this compute to someone else, if they want to keep it for themselves, if they're gonna use it for like other projects. 'Cause this compute can be used also for like Tesla vision models. This compute can also be used for whatever they're cooking with SpaceX. So this computer is going to become like a very essential resource for all of these companies, and probably one of the things that are going to start competing is like how do you prioritize?
Yeah.
And this is something that happened when Microsoft invested very heavily in OpenAI, where Microsoft gave a ton of compute to OpenAI, and then Microsoft was like, "Oh well, but I also have like customers that I need to serve. This is not like extra capacity that I have available." And then internally at Microsoft, a lot of folks were discussing because if you wanted to develop your own AI stuff at Microsoft, you needed to get in a queue to get your
Oof.
project like in development. Like
Yeah, yeah,
and you know, I think like that is a very real problem that we're going to continue to see with hardware being very hard to get, electricity, and all of these other resources around the production of these models.
yeah. It's kind of crazy. Yesterday, I was at a European startup founders event, and there were some investors there that were looking to obtain partners here to build out hardware centers in Europe, actually, because
Mm,
there's a lot of eyes also on the American ability to scale data centers now. I think there's 1,500 data center projects going on right now in the US. It's
insane, insane.
it's really crazy.
Let's
War for
go
compute. Yeah.
to the next one.
Yeah.
No, this is not the next one. Grok also they released Grokbot. Do you think I haven't got access to it? Have you had access to Grokbot already?
I have not even tried to access or get it yet, but I've just been reading the hype. It seems to be really, really good.
Is this kind of like an open claw type of thing? Like, what's the vibe for this bot?
I think it is. So the idea is that what I've listened to other people that use it already say on different podcasts and so on, it is supposed to be like your open claw without the headache. So
Mm,
like all of the promise of your individual agent, being ready for you, like open claw, being able to run all your tasks, really be your true personal assistant. But the truth is, like with Hermes or OpenClaw, that's not really the case if you're not technical. Like, because
mhm,
these things they break all the time. You gotta. I know this myself because I'm running both of them constantly, and whenever you start up a new routine, or sometimes even over time, there's maybe a memory leak or another thing that something always goes wrong. So with Grokbot, the promise is that every person on the planet can run Grokbot and it will do
mhm, mhm.
all your chores that are digitally able to be solved for you, kind of. Yeah.
Cool, cool, cool. I think this is interesting, and the right move for most of the what I've seen from coding agents is moving into like a Claude esque type of
Hmm.
like role. Um, but looking forward to see what more people cook on that sense. Last but not least, a lot of heartbroken people in China. AI companions are banned because of regulation. Uh, Something that a lot of people were complaining when I don't know if you heard of the ChatGPT 4.0 being removed. A lot of people make like really like intense relations with the agents and the models, uh, and now China is betting them. I don't know if they still have it, but let's check out like Open Router. In Open Router, one of the biggest usage like platforms was it's not there anymore. Oh, LM leaderboard. Let's see if we have apps here too. But one of the biggest users of this type of models in general was Janitor or something like that, which was essentially like one of these platforms that enabled you to make relations with AI characters, and the consumption was like incredibly high. It's interesting not to see them here anymore. We'll have to see what happened with them. But
I think it's I mean I'm very curious. I really want to make an exploration trip to China because I really want to see what that society is like, because you hear so many conflicting things from they have the greatest society in the world, they're so far ahead, they're so advanced, we should be frightened. Economically speaking, they're pressuring the US as well as Europe. If we were to give them access to our markets, all of our industry and manufacturing would be gone, all of these things. And then you hear other news like this one here where it's very restrictive. I mean, kind of like a very authoritative regime dictating what people can use and what they cannot use. It seems. I mean, in these terms, like from a political point of opinion, I think you can find arguments for this move. You can find arguments against it, but it fits into like a narrative that I think we've all been kind of watching and being a little bit concerned about.
Yeah, especially for younger generations. And have you ever used the XAI companion thing?
I have not, but I've heard about it.
It's a little bit like a little bit like how can I, spicy. And this is Janitor. Janitor is actually the #1 role play and entertainment app on OpenAI up to today.
Yeah.
Interesting enough, DeepSeek is the most used model.
Oh yeah.
My perception, and I overheard this in San Francisco. Grok models are really good for role playing.
Yeah.
So I had a friend that has like a startup, and they mentioned that Grok models were performing really well compared to any other models. Okay, let's jump back into CodeRabbit.
Yes, let's do it. We have a very special guest today. He should be coming joining us any second. I think Brian over there. I'm just gonna shoot him a text.
Cool. Do you wanna? We can put like cameras again in the stream.
Yes, let me put that up. For the time being, let me show you some of the stuff that we've been cooking on. I think it's cool to see. So let's see, we got this here. Can I share my screen? All right. So as always, it's been a busy week at CodeRabbit, right? We have so many talented engineers here. I'm blown away every time. Oh, there he is. All right, Brian, then let's start with you. Come on in. Hello. Welcome to the show, Brian.
In the meantime, I just want to say hi to a few people that we have here
in the chat.
So good. Revanth X and Andrew here chat with a ton of stuff. Second week missing talking with us. I'm sorry. We're going through things as we go. We're testing things out. But still, we can have you all here. And Andrew calling like internet type influencers, just calling out on a ton of the models that we were talking about, like the watermarking and all of these pieces we have been mentioning during the stream.
The chat has been buzzing. Jesus Christ. we have to get. Sorry guys, we're gonna step up our game on the chat.
In my defense, I was sharing my screen.
So this would have been on me. I
don't want to put it on you, but like
this is on me.
This is all over the
I was so focused. You're such a good storyteller. That's the problem, Juan. You got me completely in my attention. All right. Okay, well, shout out to the chat. Brian, do you want to introduce yourself real quick?
We're going to be sharing microphone. So
yeah, my name is Brian. I'm a senior software engineer on the enterprise team at CodeRabbit.
Beautiful. Yeah, and you brought us something to show today, right?
Yeah, I can give a little introduction on the actual product. Yeah, we're working on configuration files. We hear a lot of feedback from a lot of our enterprises. We want with large enterprises, a lot of things happen. You know, we
Yeah.
want configuration reuse, which we partially solved with inheritance. Certain configurations for stuff like front end repos might be different from like back end or like security things. And with large monoliths, which might be tough to like split up, we might like, oh, this part of the monolith we want to configure this way and do this one another way. So we built this thing called we're calling it a config by code, and allows you to build your configuration programmatically. So we can really make, especially with more and more features that we're building on CodeRabbit, we want to be like, this might be relevant for this repo, but it might be noise for another repo. Like we want our customers to have a really good experience and like really unlock what CodeRabbit has for that.
Yeah, that's awesome. Do you want to share your screen and you can show us a little bit about what it looks like? Yeah, take your time. Yeah, you're rolling live. Yeah, I think a lot of people have been asking about this. It's kind of there's so much power in CodeRabbit once you set it up correctly, right? But then there's also so many configuration steps. So making it easier for folks to kind of set that up has been like a big bottleneck. So I'm glad you guys been cracking on it.
I'm taking a look. We're gonna go through the beautiful dance of quitting the app to enable you to
share the screen.
It's the first time.
That's a good one. Yeah. First time for everything.
You know this is live.
Yeah. Meanwhile, there's been some, while you get that set up, there's been some other updates as well that I'm going to share you. Very, very fresh. I think another feature that I was super impressed with is like our new blast radius view. So basically we have now this new product. We're not finalized on how we're going to call it yet, but it's going to be something blast radius. And that's going to be basically able to enable you to see visually now what are all, like which parts of the code base are touched by your PR and by your change. So that way you can get a really good overview into what that actually looks like. And maybe since I can already give a sneak peek on that until you're ready. Let's have a look here. So this is kind of what it looks like. It's going to be part of our change stack. And pretty cool stuff. So you can basically, in this case, I have one of the changes here that we have for an internal tool that we built, and you can kind of see visually now which parts, like of, for example, this UI component here is touching other parts down the stack. And I see this to be extremely useful. One part is going to be, of course, for security as well, if to try and better understand which other parts, maybe, for example, if you're building a new API endpoint, that might be something to do with your login service, how that might be affected, as well as like, just a ton of getting more of that explainability behind what your agents are actually cooking on. So yeah, super excited for people to try this out. I see a ton of value in it already. And as soon as we have it available for everyone, I'm excited to see what people think about it. Yeah. How are you looking, Brian?
Looking good.
Awesome.
I think, how are we looking here?
Yes, Infinite One Pass.
There we go. Okay. We'll put you on. Feel free to share.
Should be sharing now. Showing up. Says that sharing.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's
the last one at the bottom.
All right.
the last one.
There we go.
Okay.
All right. Beautiful.
Cool. I think what makes it really easy to see, just like seeing some examples of, so like these files would live. So right now you can have .codeRabbit.yaml or YML or wherever, and we still support those if like your organization needs aren't that crazy. We just have one static configuration. That's awesome. But if you want to have our programmatic way to do it, you do .codeRabbit.config.ts, and we allow our TypeScript. So this is the most basic example. This is basically doing the exact same thing that YAML does. Just define config, and we just have this. This should be pretty straightforward. Just a good look. So one cool thing we're adding is context awareness. You can imagine it like an organization. Hotfixes we want to treat differently than like a regular development. We might want to have more aggressive bug fixes, because like we don't want to have a hotfix, have a fix, and then it just makes things worse, right? Or we want to be something quieter. And I will give another example. This is just basically just showing if there's a hotfix, and the organization can define however hotfixes are labeled. It could be like a PR label in GitHub, or it could be like in the title we have hotfix. We can do that. And yeah, remote inclusion, you can imagine like a large organization might want to have a standardized hotfix, but also allow our repo owners to be like, we trust you to have your own intuition. You know your repo. We know your exact needs. So this is how we can do that. We can have just one hotfix file in our central repository, and then we can merge it with our other things we have. So like this, let's say the organization generally has assertive. Is like, okay, I think our uh, our repo should be chilled generally, but on a hotfix. We just trust whatever there. And then again, like we're allowing the repo owners to be trusted, and they know their own repos, and organizations can trust their repo owners. Like, hey, if you want to like do something on top of that, awesome. So here's this is much closer to the demo I'm going to show. So I'll just start this right now. So hopefully by the time we get back. So here we have our PR, and we're going to label it as a hotfix. Create a PR request, and then this CodeRabbit will do its thing in the background. So here, it's like if it's a hotfix, which we do by having a label that says hotfix, we want to be assertive. And so normally we can have our poem, we can have our chat function art, like normally normal development, we can have some fun with it, have some fun stuff happening on CodeRabbit. But during a hotfix, you just don't want that visual clutter, right? You don't want to, like you're reading through like, okay, we got to make sure like this is good. Let's remove the visual clutter so we can have a balance of like having fun with our poems and stuff, but also like, like when things need to be fixed now or site's down, let's fix it. So here, these are special things like on call. Obviously, you don't want on call on every single PR, but a hotfix is probably something that they want to be aware about. And adding stuff like post merge actions, like when you have a hotfix, a lot of times you're gonna have to like do a follow up, either confirm that this hotfix is like a long term fix, or actually make the long term fix in general. And we have assertive. So yeah, looks here. So in here we see our run configuration is CodeRabbit config.ts, and our profile is assertive. And I can run this again later if you want, but trust that if we didn't put this hotfix, this would be a passive. And if we add CodeRabbit AI configuration, it'll also give this is pretty fast, but it'll take a few seconds. So once CodeRabbit responds, we'll have our configuration. We'll see that a lot of those settings I put out are going to say this comes from CodeRabbit.ts, and everything will save from defaults. And here we go. So yeah, so if you look at profile assertive, it comes from our configuration TS file, and then our defaults are the rest of the defaults, and merge, post merge, yeah, in here. And I do have, I think, I'll just use one of the testing ones I did last night. So this one doesn't. This is the same branch. If you go through here, our configuration, you see our profile is chill and still from the same exact file. So this is the same exact PR. It's just one is labeled hotfix and one is not. And yeah, if you look at post merge, since if you look in here, post merge actions only pops up if it's a hotfix. It just now defaults to what our defaults is. So this unlocks a lot of like customizability, a lot of like being able to be precise. It unlocks you get exactly what kind of you want. You'll get you'll get CodeRabbit to act how you want it when you want it. And for like larger organizations, you can do stuff like, oh, this hotfix thing, we want to, CodeRabbit actually added this awesome feature that could be really great for hotfixes. Let's change our hotfix file, and then all of our repos across the board do that. So this helps a lot at every organization. Yeah.
So if I already have like a CodeRabbit YAML file, would these be prioritized on top of my CodeRabbit YAML file, or how is that relation going to happen?
Yeah, so if you already have YAML, we still support YAMLs, and YAML is going to be much more simple in like what you can do, but for a lot of organizations, it's fine. So if you have both files, we're going to take the YAML, and we're also going to warn like, hey, like our configuration, we see that you have YAML and TypeScript. Like more than likely, they probably want the TypeScript, so like please delete the YAML first before trying again. So we still support YAML, but we're working on adding this TypeScript for more complicated needs.
Yeah. I think for maintainers, this is so important because you don't want probably the full power of CodeRabbit on a super simple change, or you want to spend more time, like like we were talking about, like blast radius. Like if it modifies certain files, probably you want CodeRabbit to spend more time and be more precise with the type of code review. Yeah, and you can also do stuff like if you're working, depending on how your developers work, you might have like some teams like have a very big feature branch that just does its own thing on the side, and you might want CodeRabbit to like be much more precise in those. It's like this is an experimental feature, something like we just want to like do whatever. We don't want the noise on our
on these, like if you're merging into a feature branch, like if it's
Yeah.
not on the base branch, like okay, you can kind of do whatever, right? This is not going to production, and eventually, if it goes to production, yeah, we want like to be precise, but like in this, we don't want to slow down our developers by going on that, or like yeah, again, like it's giving power to maintainers, like organization owners, repo owners, code owners, just having that power to like have CodeRabbit act how they want. Yeah. There's a lot of cool features on CodeRabbit, but sometimes they're not relevant to specific PRs, and sometimes they are. And like we want them to be used when they want to be used.
Yeah, no, this is awesome. Well, Brian, thanks so much for coming on the show and showing us this. Yeah,
awesome. Thanks. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Fantastic. Okay. Well, how it, folks.
We're just kicking Brian out, you know? It's been useful enough.
We'll get you back soon.
It's getting all the attention from us.
Yeah. Us doing actual work.
Cool. So what else do we have? Do we have?
I think. I mean, since I already took my little security blast radius feature away, I think this is kind of the update sessions that we have. We're also at the top of the hour, so I think we're good in wrapping things up. Really love the engagement from the folks that I saw here on the chat. Hope people are running in again for next week. I don't know. Ampa, do you have anything else to add to that?
I'll be joining remotely next week. I'm going to be in Amsterdam, so I'll see you all in different time zones, but really cool to see you all here. I think give it a try to everything that Brian shared today. We have some new stuff coming out from the CLI as well that we made it like way more performant than before. And as always, if you want to continue the conversations, we're on Discord, taking a look at like all the comments and things. So if you have any problems, anything that you think like CodeRabbit could be better, reach out to us on like Discord, Twitter, X, whatever. I'm taking a look at things as well every so often, so trying to catch up, but happy to continue the conversation. And, you know, like let us know if there's anything that you would like to hear from CodeRabbit in the future, things that you would like to see in the show. Happy to have more guests coming soon.
If you want to tune in, please give us a shout out. If you have something interesting to tell, something interesting you're working on, maybe also with CodeRabbit, we'd love to feature you. So
yeah. Well, we'll see you all next week.
Yeah, sounds good.